of the United States in his public appearance today proved that he is mentally incapable and emotionally incapable of fulfilling his constitutional duties as President of the United States. In other words, there is no President of the United States.
For years, MAGA has been selling Donald Trump as a political colossus, an inevitable force of nature who cannot be beaten. But everywhere around us, we are seeing evidence that that's not really true. And part of the
There are moments in politics that don't just trend online. They shake the air, shift public mood, and leave everyone asking the same question. Did that really just happen live on national television? What unfolded today on MSNBC wasn't just another heated exchange. It wasn't a routine media versus politician moment. It was a collision, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. This wasn't about policy briefs, campaign speeches, or carefully crafted talking points. It was about truth, accountability, and the explosive reaction that follows when truth meets ego in the brightest spotlight imaginable. Former President Donald Trump, a figure who has dominated headlines for nearly a decade, found himself in a rare and uncomfortable position, confronted, challenged, and pushed in a way even his fiercest critics aren't used to seeing. And the world watched. Millions of Americans sat stunned, scrolling, replaying clips, reading reactions. Some laughed, some gasped. Others just stared at their screens, wide-eyed, whispering, "No way he said that." But let's rewind for a moment. Over the last several years, Trump has built a political identity around confidence, unshakable, defiant confidence. He never backs down, never admits defeat, and never allows doubt to take center stage. His supporters admire that strength. His critics call it deflection. But today, under live television lights, that armor cracked, not from scripted questions or a polished debate opponent, but from journalists who refused to blink, refused to dodge, and refused to let his words float unchecked into the world. It began with simple questions every candidate, every leader, every public figure should expect. But instead of answering calmly, instead of offering clarity or reassurance, Trump chose confrontation. His voice sharpened, his tone hardened. The tension rose like a storm cloud. Viewers could feel it. This wasn't politics as usual. This was personal, emotional, explosive. And then came the moment everyone's talking about, the one instantly clipped, reposted, analyzed from every angle, when the MSNBC reporter fact-checked him in real time, presenting quotes, timelines, and evidence. The studio fell silent. Trump blinked. A split-second pause, tiny, but loud enough to shake the room.
A third term in the presidency. We're beginning once again tonight with something that is not actually news, shouldn't be treated as news. Today, even Donald Trump himself gave up the game of using talk of a Trump third term as a way of diverting news attention away from the Trump cruelties, especially the denial of food to hungry people around the world and soon here in the United States.
The entire Trump era is built on this kind of wish casting, psyching people out.
Then came the eruption. With raised voice, fiery gestures, and the kind of energy normally reserved for rallies, Trump launched into a defense that didn't sound like strategy, it sounded like instinct. Words poured out fast. Accusations, frustration, defiance. As if being challenged in that moment, on that platform, felt like a direct attack on everything he's built, everything he stands for. People watching weren't just hearing a politician respond. They were witnessing a man fighting to maintain control of a narrative he refuses to surrender. Because for Trump, politics isn't just a career. It's identity, legacy, survival. Every challenge feels existential. Every question feels like war. And today, war erupted not in Congress, not at a rally, but in a television studio between a former president and journalists who simply refused to yield.
The rest of the media so that they are not talking about the Epstein files, so that they're not talking about Donald Trump becoming the first president in history to suspend the food stamp program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. This program always recognized the Trump third term talk as a diversionary tactic, not to be indulged, but only to be identified as the diversionary tactic that it is.
And as the cameras stopped rolling, one thing became clear. This moment will be replayed, debated, weaponized, and remembered. Campaigns will use it. Commentators will dissect it. And voters, especially those still searching for certainty in an uncertain time, will carry it with them. Because leadership isn't just policy, it's poise, it's steadiness. It's what happens when truth confronts ego in the light of day and the whole world is watching. And today, the world watched.